Alright guys, I've got Madden 13 here. I want to do a follow-up video to my last one. Obviously, take a second to please like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and by all means comment if you feel necessary. Now, I just want to clear up a few things. First and foremost, I'm always very specific with my language in these videos. There's times where I choose to use identical plays, and there's times where I choose similar plays. And I always do those to try to emphasize the point that I'm trying to make. Now, just to clear one thing up right away, the reason I didn't have a halfback in to block in the Madden example was because I thought it would be, I don't know, common sense that the reason it would not matter is because the tackles had engaged with the defensive ends so far out that the halfback would not be able to help. And I made that point in the video. That's why in All-Pro Football, I left one in to block and actually showed him coming across the front of my quarterback to help aid in blocking. So in this example, I've basically made this very clear that there is things I've put in place to kind of debunk some of the comments that were made. I'm not doing that to be a jerk. I'm just doing that because obviously some people needed a little bit more insight as to why things are being done here. Main comment I want to make. I don't know anyone who is going to dispute the fact that a pocket is formed by a collection of players with the main intent of protecting the quarterback. And with that point in mind, I want you to just take a note of how far away these tackles have walked out to engage with these defensive ends. Again, you are not going to convince me that they are doing a better job protecting my quarterback by getting further away from him. So, I've done some things here with the Jaguars line in terms of their player personnel, because one of the comments made was I used the Vikings defense last time. Jared Allen is obviously one of the better defensive ends in the game, and people thought that the tackle approached him differently because he was Jared Allen. In this example, you're going to see two players on the Jaguars defense that are very different speed-wise. Again, in Madden, we're talking about a speed rating that clearly goes from 1 to 100. Jeremy Mincey is going to be on the opposite side. He has 68 speed. Andre Branch is going to be on the left side. He has 81. So that's more than a 10th difference in overall speed for a defensive end. So if in fact the tackles will play them differently, this will be an example where we'll see that. So again, you see here number 76 takes that initial step out of the pocket to interact initially with the defensive end. Again, he's not letting the defensive end come to him. He is going to the defensive end. And I understand there are some people that say, well, this is because the defensive end is lined up outside of him. But again, my point is, he's getting further away from the quarterback in an attempt to protect him. He should be stepping backwards in the pocket and allowing the defensive end to come to him. That way, he is in control of the angle, not the defensive end. When we go over and we take a look at the other side, you'll see the same exact situation plays out. However, because the defensive end is slower on this side, he doesn't get as far in the backfield. But again, you see number 79 comes over and engages with the defensive end. He makes that initial step, which leads us back to this point where I'm scrolling back and you can see we now have one or two steps out of my drop back from a shotgun formation. I've already got a defensive end 5 yards in the backfield. The other one maybe 2.5, 3. This leads to a situation where the halfback gets confused, and you can see in this game, this is proof that this halfback is confused. I'm going to remove and just show you real quick. I don't take control of the halfback at any point, but I want to diagnose the actions of Steven Jackson here. And Steven Jackson is a very good blocking halfback. But because these defensive ends are so far in the backfield, he does not know what to do. You can tell there's clear confusion just in the animations of this player. The reason being, when we scroll up, you can see he is actually in front of these defensive ends. How is he going to be able to aid in blocking and help containment of those defensive ends if he's in front of them? I don't know a situation where a halfback is going to walk behind the quarterback in order to help form a pocket. So we're going to load up All-Pro Football, we're going to look at an example in that game, and again show the differences between these two games in pocket formation. Alright, so here we are back with All-Pro Football. Very similar play, apart from the position of one linebacker. We're going to run this for you at speed, and then we're going to go back and do a direct comparison between Madden and All-Pro. So what we're going to do is we're just going to stop this at the edge of my break with my quarterback. Going to go ahead and compare some things here before I bring up Madden. I want you to note, first and foremost, there is a guard spun around in the middle of this formation, and we're going to talk about that at the end, but a lot of times people are way too critical of one thing and forget the whole point of a video. Now, I also want to bring up that a lot of times in this formation, you're looking for long down and distance. You need the halfback in to help contain a defensive player so that you can have routes develop down the field. I want you to notice, using the hash marks as a reference point, my tackles are roughly 5 to 6 yards apart. My halfback is already in very good position to help contain that defensive end. As we bring up Madden, again, you can see very similar part of the play. I want you to notice, again, using the hash marks as a reference point, these tackles are, I don't know, 10, 12 yards apart from each other. The point, you're never going to protect a quarterback better by getting further away from him. The pocket is a structure that is made between all your offensive line and halfbacks to help protect your quarterback. Getting further apart is not going to help. Also note the relation of my halfback in the pocket. He is not in good formation. He's not able to go over and really aid in helping contain that defensive end on the left side because he's essentially in line with my tackle, and I think we showed that when we went through that part of the video. So now as we bring back All-Pro Football, we're going to go ahead up here, we're going to take a look at exactly how this tackle interacts with this lineman. Now, I like the fact that he walks back, but I really don't like the fact that he actually instigates the contact between my halfback and this defensive end, because this allows a situation where possibly this defensive end can just bull rush this halfback and instantly sack the quarterback. But I do like the fact that the halfback is in there in a great position to help contain this defensive end, and once he makes contact, this offensive tackle comes back and helps push the defensive end. On the other side of the ball, we're going to take a look at how this lineman interacts. Again, he is not walking out. He is allowing this defensive end to come to him. And I know some of you are going to say, well, this is awful goofy, because at the end the defensive end just runs to him. But you know what? There's no other option unless he wants to try to truck around him and maybe rip past him to get to the quarterback. He has controlled the angle of this pocket, not the other way around like we see in Madden. This isn't going back in a straight line. This is him going back from his position on the line directly to the side of my quarterback to achieve maximum protection. It also gives me a passing lane. It also gives me a position to step up and be better protected. You know, those are the differences in between these two games. And just to go ahead and take a look at this guard that I mentioned in the beginning, you know, this is not something that I want to see. This guy doesn't really know his assignment. You can see that he was trying to key on that defensive end. He spins around in the pocket when he maybe should have just backed up, and he kind of just gets walked into by this defensive tackle. I don't like that, but it's part of this game. It's something that happened.